welcome to New Level Living. My name is Bill Arieno. I'm so excited to be joined here by Frank Randall. Frank, how you doing today?
Good, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Beautiful drive down.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in Honeyway Falls. It's a decent day. I don't know.
I didn't realize that there's a waterfall around the corner. I went through the town and it's just
yeah, it's
surprise.
like a quaint little town.
Yeah.
It's nice, nice place to live. So tell the people what you do.
Yeah, so I'm a financial planner. I work at Alliance Advisory Group. I pretty much serve physician assistants, nurse practitioners, pharmacists, a lot of people in the medical community. Do that for most of my time. Also serve as our firm's director of training and development. So a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. Well, with that, like, what's a typical day? Does that exist?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of times there are definitely some common themes, right? Every client, every situation is unique, but definitely probably most of my time is consistent of prepping for client meetings, holding client meetings, doing all the boring stuff on the back end, like notes that no one wants to, do and talk about. And probably the 25% of my time is working on the administrative side, working on the firm training aspect. So definitely some consistencies, but, it's nice having your own schedule, getting to build it the way you'd like.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with that. So when you are face-to-face with those clients, when you are interacting with them, is there a lot of emotion? Because I feel like finances can elicit that emotion, that anger, joy, like a whole range, stress, right? Is that part of your job, feeling out those emotions and helping people through them?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think one of the reasons why I think people work with financial planners is to help kind of take the emotion out of it. Because when we think about, you mentioned, anger, stress, if someone, has expensive bills, not enough money, that's going to elicit fear or concern. Or if they got a big tax refund check or a bonus, it's going to be, joy or maybe even concern as well. So, a lot of times I sometimes tell my clients I'm more of a kind of financial therapist almost, right?
Yeah.
Like, people are coming in like, here are the goals, here are the concerns that we have. How do we manage them? And, ultimately, I think in my opinion, people work with financial planners to give unbiased opinions, to take the emotion out of it. But sometimes it's tricky, especially when you're dealing with, husband and wife or two partners in a relationship. But yeah, it can get emotional at times, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure some people don't come to you on their best financial day. I'm sure some people are like, okay, we need help, we need support.
Yeah, and sometimes, the recommendation may not be the most comfortable one they want to hear.
Yeah.
And sometimes the recommendation may be, do more or less of this, which there could be an emotional attachment to it.
For sure.
So, really at the end of the day, if someone comes to me and says, hey, this is our goal, we feel really strongly about it, we're not going to budge. Okay, well, we'll work a plan around it, because ultimately giving, I think, people the peace of mind is my goal and my priority. But I will say, though, it is really powerful to see emotional progression from clients from like the beginning when they're showing concern or fear or uncertainty. Then you kind of see them go through like the program and the process, and you could almost feel like a weight lifted off their shoulder at the end. So it's a journey.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, I can definitely see that. So you also work a ton with like younger financial advisors. Why do you do it, and is it rewarding? What's the reason behind it?
Yeah. So I've been in the industry for probably 6 or 7 years, but I've always been in some role of like management and coaching at, my whole professional life. I really feel passionate about helping the next generation of advisors. I think I know there's only one of me. And so if I'm trying to figure out how can I exponentially impact more people, the way is to train more people, develop, coach, empower younger advisors so that they can exponentially impact more people. Plus, you get the opportunity to meet new people, right? You get the opportunity to network. So it's a big win all around.
Absolutely. When they find success, do you take pride in that? is that one of the major driving forces for you doing it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not to sound, it's not a selfish thing, but it is a dopamine hit to see, one of the young advisors like get fully licensed, pass their exams, kind of build their own brand and find their own voice.
Yep.
Definitely not taking anything away from them. It's all them, but if I can somehow play a role, it gives me, I think, a sense of purpose too outside of the normal day to day.
Yeah, absolutely. So you yourself, you specialize in working with PAs. Now, specifically, you've been an education partner with the New York State Society of PAs. Why have you specialized in that type of field?
Yeah. Yeah, so I partnered with NISPA, New York State Society of PAs, last year as one of their affinity member benefits. But I think it all probably started with my wife, Katie. She's a nurse practitioner, so I work with a lot of nurse practitioners and PAs. And I found that, well, I remember when she was going to school, the amount of like studying and dedication she had to her craft, it was 10 times more than whatever graduate program I went through. And, there wasn't any time to fit a financial literacy class in, right? And so, I think about this community of medical professionals and the type of work that they're doing for us in the community. And they never had any structured financial kind of guidance or coaching. I will say I'm seeing more of it now. I was just up at Lemoyne College. They had a networking event for their PAs and had a lot of professional development resources there, invited us, which was really awesome. But, I think from the PA standpoint, they appreciate a specialist, I guess, right? And so they appreciate someone who sees their benefits, sees their same common concerns all the time. A lot of it is my wife, because I saw firsthand what she went through.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, one thing led to another, and kind of specialized my practice in that APP space.
And I'm sure there's such a need for it, because when I think of PAs, and I think of, you're somebody who you're coming into, a job that pays well, but you're probably going to have student loans. You're probably going to need to learn, just where to, basically, what topics do you advise PAs on? What does a conversation look like?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, at the end of the day, if I can help take away some of the financial stress that PAs have, they can have a better work-life balance. They can go to work without the stress of how do I figure out how to make the student loan payment, or am I investing in the right places? So the purpose for me is really to kind of take that weight off their shoulder. But some of the topics I see, it's a great question. A lot of times I see student loans are a big one, right? So how do we navigate programs that are out there like public student loan forgiveness? So, depending if you're working for a qualifying employer, there's potential forgiveness there. How do we tell our cash flow where to go instead of ask where it went? And what I mean by that is nobody likes budgeting, right? I mean, even I hate it, right? So we want to figure out how can we tell PAs, tell clients where to put their money, where to invest it, how to protect it. But yeah, I think the big thing is as they're entering this career, they're making meaningful amount of money, how do we do things in the right order? A lot of times, me and my team see people make financial decisions out of order. And what I mean by that is someone may get out of college and they may feel really passionate about paying off their student loans. But I would caution them to not make double or triple extra payments on your student loans until you have an emergency fund set up, you got some retirement contributions happening. So it's about balancing short and long term. And long answer, but I think that's probably some of the things that I see. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm sure it's a complicated, topic. That's why you exist in that space. If it were easy, yeah. So why does your specific experience working with PAs matter? Why not go out and hire any advisor?
Yeah. I think, well, I know I'm thinking of some feedback I've gotten from some clients in the past. They've told me that they appreciate the fact that, me and my team kind of almost work exclusively with that demographic, mainly because, see a lot of the same stuff, right? A lot of the same employers I'm seeing benefit packages from, so we can help navigate that. Seeing a lot of similarities with student loans. So from, my experience, they prefer to work with someone that knows that demographic. It's kind of like if I had to go to a doctor and I had like an issue with my heart, I probably would want, a heart doctor working on it instead of, a podiatrist or something.
Right.
Both super valuable, but I would feel more comfortable working with a heart doctor instead of my daughter's pediatrician.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
So
that
I
makes
think
sense.
there's something to be said about that.
Absolutely. You're also involved with Rock City Rotary. Tell me
Yeah.
about what they do.
Yeah, so shameless plug, Rock City Rotary. We meet the third Tuesday of every month at Three Heads Brewery. You got to come out.
Put it in your calendar, folks.
Yeah. Third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. That's when we start Happy Half Hour, and the club starts at 6:30. So the story there, a lot of Rotary clubs, you may or may not know, typically skew older. Our Rotary club, our average age is around 30 years old. So like we're a younger volunteer group. Mainly we exist to serve the Rochester community through volunteer events, through social events, professional development events. I joined Rotary back in March of 2020, right before COVID, which is quite crazy. And now I serve as the group's director of fundraising. So really, it's kind of my role just to help raise money for the charities that we support. This year, we've supported Willow Domestic Violence Center. We've supported the Trauma Survivors Network. So a lot of great organizations.
All right. Yeah, awesome. And you're involved in you said obviously fundraising for that and organizing that. Is that something that interests you? What all goes into that?
Yeah, I think it's a good practice, generally speaking, for people to get involved in their community. I'm from Rochester. My wife and daughter and soon-to-be baby boy, we're all from Rochester. We live in Rochester. We're going to be here. So how can I give back to my community?
Yeah.
So I encourage everyone to, find what you're passionate about, find other like-minded individuals. But yeah, no, it's something that, it's not a huge time commitment, and you're making friendships, and you're doing good work. So it's a guilty pleasure, but I love it.
It may not be a huge time commitment, but you have a lot going on.
Yeah.
I mean, between Rock City Rotary, between your day job, you just said family, another kid on the way.
Yeah.
What you do at the New York Society of PAs. How do you decide to prioritize all those tasks?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how I made it here today.
All right.
No, there's a lot. I think it speaks to purpose, but I'm one of those guys where I live and die by my color coded Outlook calendar. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So some people can't stand it. Some people love it. I have to have it color coded. Every Sunday night I go through and figure out where I'm gonna be. But we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And I think it's a matter of how you prioritize it. It could be waking up early, staying up late, just being efficient with your time. But definitely the priority is family. Seeing my daughter, she'll be 3 next month. Just wild just to be a dad. But, you make time for things that are important to you.
Absolutely. If you could go back to day one as a financial advisor and give yourself a piece of advice, what would that be?
I think probably for me it would be to be more open to coaching. I think sometimes maybe it's the millennial in me. I feel like I got to do everything and I can't delegate. Like I have to solve all of the problems. I don't know what that's about. But I think it would be to be more receptive to coaching. Sometimes I felt like I'll just do it on my own. Recently I've been working with a couple people, coaches and mentors, and it's been really powerful. That would be my advice.
Yeah, I love that. You always got to be a student, it doesn't matter how long you've been in the game.
Yeah.
And those people who are being mentored by Frank, take notes.
Yeah, that's right. You take what you receive from people and you pass it on. A lot of it in like the coaching world, not all of it's unique. A lot of it is like you hear something from this coach, hear something from this person, kind of make it your own language and deliver it. And it's the spirit of giving back.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so important because there's a quote, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear, right? So there's probably advice you've been told by many different mentors, but it matters that your ears are opening, and open to all the different coaching, because you might have not been ready for a piece of advice.
Yeah.
It might not have registered with you, So it's just, I'm always trying to learn something new every
Yeah,
day.
it's true. And then when you become a teacher of something, you internalize it more,
Hmm.
right? So, when I, lead some of the trainings at our firm for our new advisors, I'm taking things that I'm hearing from senior mentors, from, books, from podcasts, from YouTube, that I'm teaching it to people, but I'm also teaching myself. So
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
it's a double win.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, it's that time where we are gonna go shameless plug. All right, why you? Why Frank Randall?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think shameless plug time. That's an interesting way to put it. I have some shame right in it, but I guess at the end of the day, the reason why I think people work with me is to give them that confidence and clarity. When we talked about emotions earlier. You have all these emotions around decisions, goals, concerns that happen in your life, and I think everybody should have a financial planner or a financial advisor, right? Whether it's someone you know and trust. I encourage people to go interview for financial planners. But having that partner along the way is important. And I guess why me is, having someone who's a specialist in that medical space, I think goes a long way. So that's a plug. I don't know how
Yeah.
that was, but
No,
that's my
absolutely.
take. So.
I mean, I think it makes sense. I mean, LeBron James, he still is a coach. He's at
Yeah.
the peak performance of any athlete probably ever.
No.
He still has someone looking at his game every single game, dissecting it, and kind of just being that extra set of eyes. So I think it definitely is something that resonates with me and makes
Yeah.
sense. So
Yeah, a lot of people have different, levels almost of engagement. I have some clients who are more DIY, like, hey, Frank, we want to check in, every, 6 months to 12 months, just, hey, anything we need to change. I have other clients that say, I need to meet with you quarterly, every single month, let's get started. So it really just kind of depends where people are, but always be a student, right?
Yep.
Always be receptive to coaching is great advice.
Perfect. Well, I want to say thank you so much to Frank Randall. This has been New Level Living. We're going to be here every other week. Please check us out. We talk real estate, we talk finances, we talk anything surrounding real estate and beyond. So thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks.